welcome to episode 22 of our Swavey Podcast. My name is Marlena.
Who's gonna keep it? That's Deuce crying. I'm Rob G's.
And today we have our friend and fellow entrepreneur Rafiyq here with us. And we're going to be talking about all things that he has going on, all things entrepreneurship, and where his journey has taken him. And then we're going to talk about the next podcast that we have set up in 2 weeks here.
Yeah, okay.
I told you.
It's alright. Anyway, okay.
So as I said, we have our friend Rafiyq here.
What's going on,
I know Rafiyq from Slippery Rock, Go Rock.
You
went to Slippery Rock too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just do this again. See, with
Isaiah.
Rock, I'm IUP. Like,
Rafiyq.
oh my God. I was just at IUP yesterday because I did an engagement photo shoot up there.
Okay.
A friend of mine, they met each other up there, but like, it just happened the last episode.
Yeah, with Isaiah.
Slippery Rock, it's like, damn, all these are Slippery Rock guys. So.
You know the family.
Right.
You know what?
So we know each other from school, and right now he has so much going on, so I figured what a better opportunity to bring him on to our podcast and talk about all the things that he has going on, give us some knowledge, and just share value. So I don't even want to try to explain what you do because I know you have your hands in so many hats.
Right.
But if you just want to start with one and then get into the other, I'll let you have the floor.
So funny, everybody been going around with them pictures like the Mrs. Little.
Yeah,
I got one. I got one I didn't post it. It said Mr. Wear Too Many Hats.
Yeah,
I was definitely gonna post that.
Literally, that's
but
you.
So Rafiyq Cromwell, I am the Chief Executive Officer of Prive Management Group, which is a creative marketing agency and production company based here in Pittsburgh. We specialize in brand management, brand partnership, creative marketing solutions with videography, photography, cinematography, graphic design for pro athletes and businesses. And then on top of that, I'm also like to call myself an investor. I'm invest in a few different projects between real estate. I have some equity ownership in some media companies that are now coming out, some apps. Then I'm also an equity partner in a hedge fund based out of Chicago.
Nice.
As well. So, like to dab a little bit of that. And
it's everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's basically what's going on right now,
So how did you get into being the chief executive officer? Like, how did you? Because I feel like this was something you were doing in school,
right.
Or I think it was towards the end of maybe your years at Slippery Rock. But I know you were getting yourself into that, or you were starting that during that.
I had already been doing it. I actually started my first marketing company in like 2010.
Okay.
You started early.
Yeah, I started early. I actually started
ago.
whenever I was in a community college.
Okay.
And the idea came from that I knew that I was trying to still play ball and get myself back into a position where I could go to school and play ball.
Right.
So I realized that I wasn't the only person in my position, you know what I mean? And I wanted to help people get to that next level by marketing or branding them in some kind of way. So that's when I really sat back and was like, okay, this is a lot bigger than myself. And that's when I started, and the first company was actually called Pick 6 Empire.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Yes, it was.
I actually had that title. And I carried that over into Slippery Rock. But it formulated more where I was using clothes as a way to create brand recognition. But when I did the clothes, I did all athletic-based gear.
Right.
So that way we made the transition over into actually, I knew I wanted to represent players, right? So when I would make that transition, clothes wasn't really the end goal type of thing. It was just a scheme. Well,
it was just to get to.
I knew I could get money from it type of thing, and I knew that it would keep me relevant while I was in school, and it will also keep me from getting in trouble with the NCAA type of thing. We're trying to run a marketing group type of thing.
Right.
So, when I made that transition over into actually representing athletes, it wasn't hard for people to really connect the dots and make it make sense. It's I would ship clothes and I would make stuff that guys can wear in games with the spandex tights and long sleeves and stuff. So I would send them to people that played at different schools that I knew, and I would send them in their colors with their number on it. And I knew that.
That's what gravity.
I knew every school took pictures of the game, so I was like, I'm gonna get free professional pictures out of this. Be able to post it on the social media. But then also I was sending it to guys that played at schools that played on TV, and I started getting that where guys was wearing it on TV, and I'd be able to take the clips and from there. So it was just being strategic with it, making it make sense.
Yeah, creative.
But it actually didn't really formulate into what it is now, like a refined idea, until Nick left school. When Nick left Slippery Rock, and I saw him dive into, so it was another one of my teammates.
He's doing big things too.
We went to school with. He left school and he started doing that. He was actually working with like Tyler Boyd and Travis Kelce at that time. And that's when I was like, okay, that's what it is that I'm trying to be doing and get to. And that's when it became a refined idea of what it is that I wanted to do. And that just kind of carried over. I mean, of course, long story short, but it carried over into now of representing athletes. But then now it's like, it's so crazy because we're in like another expansive phase right now at the same time. But so that was kind of like the gist of it, really, of like at that time when I was doing it in college.
So how's it going now?
It's just it's going great. So like,
so all this was like premeditated already.
It's been a well thought out plan for a long time, and it was more so like I was ahead of the curve a little bit with social media because I got introduced to it really young. So I got introduced to Facebook. It was like 2007.
Oh, wow.
You still needed a college email to actually
you did.
Facebook.
That's right around the time that I was still on MySpace, and I heard about Facebook, and I was just like,
I'm tripping. It was Facebook because MySpace was already out. And Facebook.
You needed I thought Facebook was just for college. Like you had to be like at a certain university.
You had to have your email had to have like edu at the end.
I wasn't allowed to have a MySpace.
And then Facebook became for everything.
Right. So it was. I got introduced to that real young. One of my homeboys, it was funny. My next door neighbor, he made me a fake Cheney University email.
Oh, nice.
And that's how I got on Facebook. But I was on there for maybe like 2 weeks, and I stopped getting on there. Because it was like it wasn't really like cool because I wasn't actually at none of the schools. And at that time, it was like, if you were associated with the school and stuff, like you was really in the mix because people was going out taking pictures of them. So I was like, this is alright. But I realized though the power of social media and the connectivity of it from the fact that when Twitter came around, Emmanuel Hudson, the dude that does Wildin' Out, every Friday he would do like a Ratchet Fridays. That's when the She Ratchet song came out. It was hashtag Ratchet Fridays. And I started that's really when hashtags first came out, and you can click on it, of course, and see everybody's response. And see everybody's response, and I'm just like, yo, these are people from all over the country right now, like all doing this, and he was able to retweet everybody that just based off of that, and it clicked to me instantly. I'm like,
Twitter
this is
like that.
Crazy, yo. Like that was in the fall. That was in like.
If you caught it early,
that was in like 2000. That was in like fall 2010. That was like fall 2010.
You gotta make sure you catch some apps early.
Man.
I see him, I'm like, man, just like TikTok, I caught it, and then I was like, I ain't being on TikTok. And like a year later, just remember, it started cracking. I was like, damn, why I just stay on TikTok?
It'd be like that, man. Like, and just understanding how it works, being early, understanding how it works, always give you a competitive advantage. Because I remember in college, man, like when I was doing a lot of that, man, a lot of people was like joke about how much I post on social media or stuff like that. But it's like, I knew where it was heading. Like, I knew where it was going. Like, I'm like, there's no reason not to document this stuff and not show this because it's all going to give you validity. And because everything will be moving so digital, and now what we have, your social media is your walking resume for real. You know what I mean?
Completely honest.
Right. So
we're trying to get to.
That was a little long-winded, but you know what I mean. That was a good gist of what was going on at that time, which is using clothes to really like tap in and just create brand recognition and really get it to a point now. Like, you know, we're representing 4 NFL athletes, getting ready to be 5. And then, you know, we're doing a lot of partnerships on the, like I said, outside of sports. You know, we've really just been expanding more on the production end and, you know, the creative marketing end in general. So we actually partnered with, we had partnered with a few companies here in Pittsburgh. We had worked with the Greenwood plant downtown and redid some marketing and branding stuff for them. It's a nonprofit. But then we also partnered with Neighborhood Allies. It's a big nonprofit here in Pittsburgh as well.
So you basically, like, you're their, I don't know, it's like content creator, but like
we call it like a creative direction.
Creative director.
So it's like all social media and marketing aspects.
Yeah, yeah. So for like Neighborhood Allies, we're like their creative thought partner. So we're helping them restructure their like quarterly newsletter, and then, you know, we redesigned like their Rise High initiative logo. We shot a 3-minute film for them of like, you know, showing them out in the neighborhood working with these different companies because they work with minority-owned companies and stuff within, you know, the city of Pittsburgh and helping people with different resources. So with that, on top of helping them with social media content, you know, photo shoots and stuff like that.
Do you only work with like local, being that you're, I mean, it's probably easier, obviously.
No, I mean, it really depends because we travel as it is for sports. So, I mean, if we end up working with another company somewhere, then, you know, I'm all for it. We've had those opportunities where there's definitely work that we can do for people that doesn't require us to actually be there. Like, we can still help grow and do a social media audit for someone, you know, or
talk about this,
or refresh the
I'm
website.
I'm thinking about my dad's nonprofit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know who's running like his like who does his website and like his, you know what I mean? I'm just thinking about that, and that's in Erie. That's why I asked, but
yeah. So like a big part, I mean, that, you know, is being that it's not in Pittsburgh isn't really an issue because a lot of those things, like I said, you know, redoing the website and the logo, none of that stuff requires us to physically
be
there.
It's outside the city anyway.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't unless it's, I mean, now parts of that as far as like logo refresh and stuff like that, we'll dive into, you know, coming and shooting content for you and getting some stuff and like doing different photo shoots and you know, we might pull the drones out and get some stuff, you know what I mean? But even with that, like, we can do a logo refresh for somebody and, you know, go through the social media and do an audit.
Yeah.
That doesn't require us to be there. Even just giving them a direction of, okay, well, if we don't create the content, here's the direction you should go with your content type of thing. You know, and that type of stuff.
Just talk about the fit, man.
I looked down for a second. I was like, this man pulled up in the Louis shoes. That's like he came here Swavey. Like he knew what he was doing with the Dior. What is it, Dior's?
No, this is.
This looked like it was Dior for a second.
This is Diet Starts Monday. It's a Pittsburgh. It's actually a black-owned company.
Oh, that's love.
Yeah. John Geiger actually used to be part of it.
Oh, right.
That's how I got into it, and then he actually gave up all his ownership. And they still run the company. So
what's the shirt?
The shirt is Dior. The shirt is Dior.
I was just sitting here and I looked down and said, you got Louis shirts on? I'm a big Louis. Like everything I wear is Louis. Like I just love just Louis.
I'm like that too, man. Like my wallet is Louis, my keychain is.
Yeah, I just got a keychain that's Louis.
Like, you know.
I got a keychain. Well, I just got one like 3 days ago. Put my key rate on there.
And then
hook it up to the joint.
I got like my work bag is the same as my work bag, same pattern. My
bag, Louis, like
my travel bag is the same. My duffel bag is all. I'm the same way.
I like being.
I'm just low key with it though. Like I wear this stuff with like I said, I got on sweats and I'm.
If I wouldn't have just out there doing that Photoshop outside, I'd have been. So I was like, this man came in here and Swavey. You know, like I like it.
You know something. But yeah, man. You know, it's just trying to be more creative. Another big company that we partner with is Bridgeway Capital.
Okay.
Bridgeway Capital is a really, really big company. I think I might have mentioned them to y'all when we were down
there. Yeah, when we were chopping it up.
But Bridgeway Capital is a really great company for like minority-owned businesses, creative businesses that, you know what I mean? Like, you can come through there and I'll send you all the link. I have a link for Entrepreneurship Hub.
Okay.
For like services that you may need. Like if you come through there and tell them, you know, what you guys are, what you're trying to do, you fill out the form and stuff. But you can come through and get services, whether it's like tightening up a business plan or marketing plan or getting photo shoots and content done. And what they'll do, like they'll contact us or another, consultant they have to get the work done, and we'll come pull out the equipment we have and stuff to get it done. Then they'll pay us at our going rate.
Gotcha.
And y'all get the services.
Right.
So it's like that's been a really big thing for us. We've been doing that for some time now, and just growing that. But then they're also a lender as well. So we're actually right now we'll be closing on a new production building October 18th right now.
Here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Creating over in Homewood, building a production studio over there, and then we'll be able to rent it out. So we actually gonna have like an infinity wall and stuff to build out to allow people to come in and do photo shoots for their brands and stuff, and for themselves.
That's fire.
So we'll be running our production stuff out.
And it's gonna be right there in Homewood, so it's gonna be accessible to a lot of people.
And there's not a studio on that side to rent. No. Everything is either here on the south side or on the north side.
Yeah. North side, up there, towards like Chimera, all the way up there.
Right.
But like
there's nothing down there east side on that or east end area.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Anything.
That's gonna be.
Man, we got a lot of stuff going on too with that, which is like the nonprofit that we were working with out of there. We're working with the high school seniors, bringing them in, working with a creative marketing agency and production.
I wish they did that stuff back when I was in school.
Man, that's
like we was growing up, they didn't do none of that.
Yeah,
that's
the
what
curriculum.
I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I just feel like when I was in school, it was just your core.
Right.
Get into college. What do you want to major in? And that was it. But like now, we talked about this in our last episode. Like entrepreneurship is so it's evolved, and I think COVID really started that. Yeah. Even though it was already a thing. Like my dad retired back when I was a freshman at Slippery Rock, and then he started his nonprofit. So he's been doing it for a while, but COVID itself steamrolled entrepreneurship. Yeah. And that's when we started not officially, but that's when we really started doing everything on our own. Because our first launch we did was in September of 19, but we went through someone else. Mm-hmm. Got gypped a little bit during that.
Taking the bumps.
Yeah, we were taking advantage of because we didn't know any better. We trusted him.
Right.
And then we were like, okay, we can do this ourselves, and it was just trial and error of making stuff. And stuff.
I'm gonna connect y'all with somebody. My man Dave. He I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think he really help y'all.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and that's why we talk now, we have no problem. Isaiah hit me up a little while ago and asked where I got the machine from, the clothing, the logos, boom, 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 link.
Right. It's definitely.
But back then, people were he would reach out to someone, no answer.
Yeah.
they don't want to help you.
People gatekeep.
That's why we where we started this podcast is just basically building a platform where we just exchange value and have real conversations with people and be more selfless and instead of selfish on this type of platform, because people, like I said at the beginning, people will take advantage of us and certain other things, or they want to spread the sauce, and now we want to build a platform where we start with entrepreneurs of whatever they're doing as a creative, and see where they started at and where they're going, where they're at in life now. And then we just talking about on the last podcast that we want to do these podcasts every year and bring back people. Just see where they're headed in on their journey.
For sure, man. There's definitely like I was saying, I'm all about giving people all right, here's what you can do. Here's how you can do this.
We don't lose anything.
And that's why I instantly thought I really didn't mean to cut you off, but I'm I know y'all definitely trying to tap in creative to close. My man Dave Ham, he got Ham Studios.
Here in Pittsburgh?
Yeah, but he Dave is I think he underestimates his greatness a lot type of time.
Yeah, sometimes we do that.
But Dave is really dope. He's brilliant, and he's connected heavily in the fashion world.
I think you were telling me about him once before when we
probably I'll send y'all his IG and stuff. But he's connected heavy out in LA. Out there,
Pittsburgh and LA got a big bridge.
Yeah, he's connected heavy out there with the fashion world, and he has some really tight plugs with the like some of the wholesale stuff and some really good relationships.
Yeah, I think that's like the hardest, not hardest, but like that is one of the hardest things is like the whole, like wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've been fortunate enough to find a couple websites that we stick with consistently now that work for us, but it's really hard to tell what type of material and how it fits and stuff when you can't actually see it and feel it.
It'd be fire if there was one.
I'll drop one for y'all. There's a brand called Original Favorites.
Original Favorites?
Oh yeah, yep, that's where our newest ones are from.
Yeah, Original Favorites.
We met that dude. He was from LA, and I met him. Yep. I was at one of my DJs.
Orlando.
My DJ lives in Vegas. He was having a couple sets in Orlando, and he hit me up at the last minute, and I popped out to Orlando, and I met somebody on the Orlando Magic's stadium. We was having a rooftop show up there, which was fire. Yeah. Which was fire. I met him up there, and I think he was from LA, and he put me onto it. And I was like,
and that's what we've been using now with like our cream t-shirts, shorts,
a lot of people
sweats.
use Original Favorite because it's really good stuff. You know what I mean?
It's really good quality.
It's really good stuff. So yeah, definitely them. And then I gotta actually look through like emails and stuff. But
how, like, being that you have your hand in so many hats, obviously you like being busy because you keep putting your hands in so many hats, but like how is that, like, balancing all of that? Because I even get overwhelmed and I don't have my hand in that many hats.
I talked about that before, about spreading yourself.
Yeah, I have like my two businesses and I have my job. And sometimes I'm like, I
like to get my hands in everything.
Yeah, and I have a planner. Get everything down, what I gotta do, what's going on.
Man, having a team, having a solid team.
So it's not, it's
having
not
a solid
just yourself.
Team, and also just being organized on your end and setting like work boundaries for yourself. Like I had to really get into the mode of, all right, when I wake up, I also get up really early. Like
what time
I get up at like 5 a.m. every day. Like naturally.
See, I've been like. I'll be like me tomorrow. Tell you, I'm 5 a.m. I've been trying. We did it like one time last week, and I was like for a long time. I just was like, yo, since I'm so busy and I'm doing music, I'm in there praying, and I'm always doing all these things. I was like, damn, if I could just get up at 5 a.m. every day, life would be so much easier.
You, man, because by the time noon come around, dog, like you
already got it done,
man. Like, because I used to get up at 4:30. I used to get up around that time.
You know, weekends?
I do now naturally just because I do on a weekday. I'll pop up, but I'll lay there type of thing still, or I might get up and move around. You know what I mean? Still, but I was doing it because the stock market, pre-market, starts at 4:30 in the morning.
It does.
So I would get up and just watch what's happening, see what's going on, and a lot of times I would. At first, I had like a little strategy I was doing. I was playing penny stocks sometimes in the pre-market. Yeah. And a lot of times they would have like some big moves from shares I had bought the day before.
Were you on like MetaTrader or were you on?
No, I was just on Webull.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on Webull with it at the time. And I was just like working with the shares because you couldn't do options. You can't do options until like regular trading hour and stuff. So that's why I was getting up so early at first. And then it transitioned into like I'll still get up and instead of actually watching the market, I'll look at the market just to see, which way things are moving. But I'll study. I'll just kind of look at like any news that came out from stock stuff. But then I actually take that time more so in the beginning of the day to really just kind of like get my mind right, start my day slow.
Yeah, like what do you have to do?
Yeah, like well, not even that. Like just really get a feel for what I feel from the universe for real, see how I'm feeling. You know what I mean?
Well, I was big on that for a long time with trading, crypto, NFTs, and being a part of IM for so long. I was big on meditation and journaling. I was really doing it early, and that just just talking to you now, it reminds me like, damn, I gotta be back up to getting up early again.
Like, that getting up early is like a cheat code for real, dog. Because you might get a little tired depending on what you got going on. Like you around like 2-3 o'clock, you might hit a wall. Where you need a quick nap or something. I ain't gonna lie, I'm gonna nap. God, I'm gonna take a nap. God, like you know what I mean. But a lot of times I can power through that. You know what I mean, and still get stuff done. And then
just go to bed discipline early. For real.
Just go to bed early.
Like, what time you be going to bed?
Sometimes I might be asleep by like 9:30, yo.
Yeah.
Like,
listen, I'm a 6 a.m. person, and usually my alarm goes off at 6. I try to go to the gym for an hour, come back, get everything together here for an hour, and then I take myself to work. Yeah. And then you know, if I can bring my Swavey stuff to work where I have to do something, I do it. If not, make sure when I get home from work, I'm doing it here, and then I'm sitting my butt on that couch, and I'm like unwinding.
You sleep at like 11 or 12. You still wake up at 5?
Yeah. Like it's just a thing.
It says like internal alarm clock.
Yeah, that's just how it is. Like even last night, I fell asleep kind of early because I had a headache, so I fell asleep at like 8. But I popped up around like 11 o'clock, and I was just kind of up. And then I ended up having like a call with one of my homies from college. We was talking about some marketing stuff and just where things been going with Prive and stuff. And then I ended up getting off the phone. I was just up for even longer, so I ended up just reading a little bit more. And I was up till like maybe like 3 o'clock in the morning reading. So that's it popped up.
What are you like reading right now?
Like, so right now I'm reading this one book called Mustache. It's a samurai book. It's like a samurai story. It's a really thick book. Then there's other ones called it's like the way of worldly wisdom or something like that. But like I try to read at least like 2 books a month for and that
better than me. I've been wanting to be around Napoleon Hill, but like I'm just so like I get distracted from things. I just be like, we here 1 minute and I'm like, I should read over here. Somebody else takes mine.
I'm like that, man. I ain't gonna hold you. I'm like that a lot too, and I had to learn to just like in the morning, like I'll go down to my office in the house and I'll have like my iPad and my MacBook, and I'll leave them both closed. I won't open them until a certain point. You know what I mean? I won't open them until like maybe like 9 o'clock for real, and I'll leave them both closed. I might even have my watch on, but if my watch is getting too many notifications, I'll take it off. You know, and I might hop on Twitter or something and I might send off a tweet or whatever, but then it's like I close that joint and then I go straight to just like, all right, let me get my zone for the day. I get up.
Cause you can't get up, wake up and be right to electronics, cause that shit'll take a lot. And I catch myself on there, and I got like this book. It's called Book of Sauce that I've been writing, and I'm trying to take my shit, but it's called Book of Sauce, and I've been writing it, but every like 6 pages, it always come back to discipline. And I'm just writing down stuff like in this book that I'm writing is mostly about like things that I've been through that got me to certain levels, whatever, certain quotes or certain things that I've seen or certain things that I've done, and it always comes back to I need more discipline. Just discipline, and discipline is gonna get me to where I get. Like if I wake up, sometimes I wake up, I'm on my phone, I'm scrolling. The next thing I know, it's an hour. I like, how did that happen? I just gave the internet my time, and I should have woke up and invested that time into myself.
Exactly. And that's what it really be about, man. I start like, just realizing like how much time I was sitting trying to explain my vision, opposed to just doing that. You know what I mean? And once I really started like tapping into that and started realizing like, hold on, I can maximize more of my time. Let me just put this down for a little bit and tap in. It really came about when I started reading The Alchemist. You ever read that? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I ain't read it. Read that book. The Alchemist, man, it really helped me like lock in. You're supposed to read it multiple times. It's an easy read. I read the book in like 3 days or something like that. Okay. But that's what really got me into that mode of like, all right, I'm gonna set out to read this. I'm gonna set out to read X amount of pages or a certain amount of time per day. And because I had bought a few books before then, I had started getting into it, but I couldn't hold my attention type of time. And then when I started reading The Alchemist, it was a page turner for me, and that kept me like always reading to a point like today I just took like 2 books out of my car type of thing that just been kind of in there. You know what I mean? And because I would just read on the go also at the same time.
Yeah, I be trying to do that too.
But doing that, man, it just allowed me to start my day calmer. I wake up, I get my little wake and bake, you know what I mean? I'll pace the driveway, just see what I'm getting from the universe type of thing, what I'm feeling. And,
just go from there.
Yeah, then, talk to my family, of course, make sure the missus is cool, make sure my daughter's try to engage with them and make sure I'm embracing them first before I start anything, you know what I mean, any type of work. And then that's when I'll dive into it. It's really be around like 9:15, 9:30. It's just really when I'm like, cracking stuff open, cracking open the computer, stuff like that. And then from there, then it just goes straight into the first thing I do before anything, whatever notifications come up, I just go straight and write down my daily tasks. Like whatever it is.
And that's what I'm doing. I need to do more of that.
Do my daily tasks, you know what I mean? I break down certain work. So I'll break down, I have 2 whiteboards, and I'll break down all the companies that we're working with right now and all the work that they need done. And then I'll label it, the work that they need done, by who is doing it with their initials. And then if it's something that I gotta do, and or something or whatever that's not checked off, is on my daily task. All right, cool. And then once I check it off, I just go through that list of everything. But then the daily task might not consist of something on that board today. It might consist of something completely different, but it's on that daily task, even if it's not just straight business stuff. You know what I mean? It might be like, all right, well, it might be okay. Study the stock market from 9:30 to 10:30 type of thing. Then it might be okay, send out or work on something for this brand, work on something for this brand, or make sure you reach out to this person about this, or it might be listed up. And then I try to get like 50% of that done by noon, because a lot of times it'd be quick stuff and we just look at it like, man, I got all this stuff to do. But it'd be quick stuff that you get
just
done.
Boom, boom, get it out of the way.
Knock it out the way, right? And then also, honestly, another thing that allowed me just to not feel like I'm overwhelming myself is I had to stop completely rushing for other people. Like rushing.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what we do all the time. It's just human beings. Like
people ain't rushing all the time to get stuff to me. You know what I mean? Like I'm not saying I'm be like lazy and be like I'm a very punctual person.
Yeah.
But I'm not always gonna drop everything I'm doing to get things to people, and because it's like, all right, you may call me and say you may need something. Okay, cool, but you gotta respect my time. That I got this.
Because time is the
same time, right? Like, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and sometimes it get like that with doing multiple things.
And they can't take that personally.
Right. And another big thing that's also helped me too was like I use my calendar for everything, man. Like on my phone. Like
I know people do that, but
I would never do that. It's so hard.
My calendar, yo.
I'm a writer. I use my planner for everything.
I have literally like you see every day got dots on it.
Like,
you know what I mean? Like that's just really what it is. You know what I mean?
See, I gotta get better with doing
whether
that.
it's meetings or like I got to pay some account or you know what I mean? It's really like.
What's your zodiac sign?
Huh?
What's your zodiac sign?
Cancer.
Oh, okay. You two both organized as hell.
Man, I get it from my grandparents too at the same time. But then it also helps me just in my household though, because I have my iCloud for my business calendar is linked to that phone plus my iPad that I use for work. But then also I have my old iPad that I used to use for work, a smaller one, and that's like the house one type of thing.
Okay.
So like Angelie, she'll be able to see anything that I'm doing, like my schedule, if she wants to plan something for us to do or whatever, like she'll be able to see it, or if there's something that she has to do with her makeup clients or somewhere she has to go, she'll be able to put it into the schedule and then I can see it.
Right.
So that I'm not booking something at the same time as her.
Right.
So being able to at least just see each other's calendars like that also allows me to be like, all right, well, if there's XYZ going on, I'm not going to book a whole bunch of stuff this day because I know by this time I'll be burnt out mentally. So I'm going to push this meeting to this day. Like, and just doing that also.
Just being more organized.
That's it. Just being proactive with your calendar.
I love it. We went to Michael's last week and they had this planner and it was so... I didn't get it because I didn't need it, and like the price wasn't hitting, but I love organization. I love being planning stuff out, and I'm a firm believer that everything has a place, and everything deserves to be in that place, whether it's your house, your car, your job, your business. But I love planning things out, and then I get satisfaction of crossing that out, I did that. Upload podcast. I did that.
And that's why I do those daily tasks, because it can be, no matter how mundane it is, you see how productive you were that day. Opposed to sitting back, you be like, man, I didn't do shit. Yeah, but then it's like, well, you went and took this to the post office, or you went and sent these emails, and you reach out to this person and get a follow up.
And it's also really nice because like there's been days where whether I was too tired or whatever the case is, I had something I was supposed to do and I didn't do, and the next day I'll sit in our office and I'll look at my plan and I'll be like, okay, damn, I didn't do that. Okay, Marlene, you have to do that when you get home because it was written down here for you to do it yesterday and you didn't do it for whatever reason, so now you have to do it. Keeping myself accountable, for like making sure I get things done, especially because I handle a lot of the back end stuff for Swavey. So, I feel like that's even more, not pressure, but like even more responsibility. Like I have to make sure certain things are, on their P's and stuff.
Absolutely. And that's just part of, that's how you elevate, you know what I mean? That's how you grow. I realized, like, in order for any company to really grow, even in your business, you have to, one, be proactive in your organization.
Structure.
You got to, even just your simple workflows, you know what I mean? Okay, well, do you have a process for when orders come in? Do you have a process? Okay, well, we got X amount of days that we want to have this in the post office. So by this day, I need to have this done, this done, this done. In order to be able to get this off to the post office by this time and have it out to them, to guarantee that they're going to get it in that same shipping time for everybody type of thing. You know what I mean? Or it's like when you got the social media stuff, what is your workflow with how you get that stuff done? Who do you go through? What's your turnaround time? So like, for example, when we do a video project, we tell them a 14-day turnaround, but then it's, within 7 days from the last day of shooting is we get our first edit, we look at it, okay, cool. Okay. Then 2 days,
you have that other week
2 days after that, we gotta get another edit. Okay, cool. Then by that 14th day, by the 13th day, we should have the final edit. We reviewing it, any last copies. Okay, cool. Now
and then on the 14th day,
14th day is done.
Sure,
right.
Perfect.
You know what I mean? Right. So
that's what they want.
Right. So getting into that point is like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Like getting there.
Some of the offers don't do that. I'll be getting that last project when they're ready to set it up. I'm like, you should just updated me mid, so I knew exactly where we was going.
And like that's a big thing in it too.
Yeah, and like for this, so like today's Sunday. My day off is on Friday. I would like to have it edited by then to where I can just upload it, write the description and stuff and be done.
Right. So that's where you look at your day, like you look at your whole week, and you look at, all right, well, how can I evenly structure this out where I could put like 2 hours a day to this.
Right. To have it done by all I have to do Friday is just upload it and
but
be
then
done
if you don't get up at a certain time
and then it messes everything
it
up.
Doesn't matter. Right.
And I be trying to get into the gym by like early. I'm trying to get in early, like put that hour and a half in early.
Yeah.
And then go back. Like when I do get up early, like everything is like the last time I got up at 5, I was like, man, all right, I did that so much before like 10.
Yeah, but like you couldn't sleep, which is why you were up that early.
But the way my mind works sometimes is that I got so much in my mind or whatever, and if I don't write it down or put something down, like it just stays up. Yeah. I mean, you're thinking like, damn, am I supposed to? All right, because at one point I was doing shows every single weekend.
Right.
I was doing events, I was doing podcasts, and then if you start to slow down, then I start figuring out, all right, what do we got to do next?
Right.
So it's like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. My mind is just running.
So you gotta give yourself that break for real, man. I was just having this conversation yesterday because I'm the same way. Like I have a million thoughts that was something I want to do or an idea, and the most valuable thing I learned was just taking a break from it because
turn that bitch off.
You're not like I started really tapping into and understanding like my mental performance. What affects my mental performance? Not eating in the morning, yo. If I don't eat in the morning, dog, like my mental performance is terrible. I can't focus as much. You know what I mean? My execution on certain ideas may not be where it's at. Or if I'm looking at the stock market, I notice I may be a little bit more irritable and emotional than I need to be dealing with money at that time.
So what are you getting into right now as far as coin? Bitcoin going back up.
Right. But I mean, all that stuff is a long-term game. For me, I mean, so it's like I'm one of them people. There's a difference between investing and trading. A lot of people conflate the two.
They don't know the difference between the crypto market. It could be, and you could even when I was really full time trading. Like I was trading when NFTs, like, cause I launched an NFT Me and Trip Six probably about like 7, 8 months ago or something like that. Mm-hmm. But we were big into it when it first started. But we was playing a long term game, but we was also playing right now. You know, like I was in MetaTrader, you know, or playing around the penny stocks and see how that goes. Because you got to be up early to figure out the red folders.
I mean, yeah and no. There's different strategies that you can do because pre-market really don't be mattering.
You be using TradingView?
Yeah, sometimes. You know what I mean? I do my investing stuff. We were talking about this a little bit at the thing, so I'll get into it. But I really look at this stuff a lot differently than a lot of other people. Like, I'll do day trading, but day trading for me, just right now, currently where the market is at right now, like, it's cool, but I don't feel like that's where the most value is right now. Just simply because you get a lot of good companies on sale right now because the market is down. So I've really been, as of lately, I've been just doubling down on my long-term portfolio. Like all my,
So like you mentioned earlier, you invest.
Yeah.
Whether that's, that's not just companies, right? That's like businesses and it could
people,
be whatever.
Stock market, people, companies, you know what I mean?
That's like the biggest.
So do you help other people invest?
So that would be being a financial advisor in a sense. Okay. I mean, I can give you a lot of sauce, give you a lot of game for sure, but I can't take a piece of nothing.
So do you have your own financial advisor that helps guide you to where you make your investments, or is that strictly just
I wouldn't say financial advisor. I have a mentor, but I also do a lot of stuff on my own too, just because I was in that world. So I was at Merril Lynch for about 3.5 years as a investment advisor associate, and they were essentially paying me to learn about the stock market and take tests on the stock market for the past for those 3 years. So I did nothing but learn about different investment strategies and different investment types, and the tricks and trades that the 1% don't tell you about. Even just with why I'm not doing a whole bunch of day trading. Don't get me wrong, you know what I mean? I've had days.
There's some guys just sit there and day trade all day.
Now I've had days in day trading. I've had days where I've done, I was I never really talk about numbers but shoot, I ain't gonna say when, but there was a stretch I was hitting I was doing at least 10 bands a day for a solid 60 days.
From just day trading?
Yeah.
Some people know how to run through the market like that.
Yeah, and then I had one 6-figure day.
10 bands a day.
6-figure, I had 100.
Now this is actual trading, right?
Yeah, actual you know what I'm saying, on contracts, options contracts. So I had one day I did it was 175 in one day.
Now, was the market was it just kind of fluctuating and you were just getting in at the right time?
It was in one company for real, dog. I ain't gonna hold you. It was in a few different ones. I had different options in some different companies, and the market just happened to take off.
They come trading with him.
You know what I mean?
So trade with this dude.
But no, that was I really had stopped trading crazy just because we pay capital gains tax on all that.
Yeah, you do.
So I just been learning that the difference between being rich and wealthy a lot of times is learning how to pay as least taxes as possible type of thing. So
now I already owe taxes.
You know what I mean? So it's I've really been diving more into, like I said, the long term stuff. You know what I mean? So I like to rock with Interactive Brokers, which we were talking about. Interactive Brokers is another platform, kind of like Webull and all that stuff, right? Okay. But it's a really, really big platform. And the reason why I like Interactive Brokers is because they have what you call, there's something that's called a margin, right, that you get in stocks and investment portfolios. A margin is like a line of credit, essentially. So once you get $2,000 in your account, every $1,000 that you deposit, they give you 3 times the buying power. So you get every $1,000 you deposit, you get an extra $3,000 to buy with in stocks, right?
Okay.
So if you got, so let's say for example, you got a stock portfolio with $275,000 in it, right? You can borrow 50% of that from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
have you ever had those problems with taking the money out? Because I've had, like, there's a lot of platforms out there right now, like, even like Coinbase right now, they're just having a real big problem with trying to take their money out.
I ain't been rocking with a lot of them for real, because I didn't really vary off too much into getting onto a whole bunch of different platforms. Like, I got a Coinbase account, but I don't really be a lot of my crypto stuff is like, a lot of my crypto stuff is cold storage. You know what I mean? So I went straight like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this type of thing because I'm not even looking at it. Like when I say
pancake spot.
When I say long term, I'm talking like, bro, I'm probably not gonna sell none of this. Like my kids might be the one that get that type of thing. Like, you know what I mean? And that's just where, like, being able to just, it's having like a real plan. You know what I mean?
Because I have money in certain stocks where they've just been sitting there, you know, and I don't really plan on. I wasn't, because we got into like, even like coins, like Telecoin, like a long time ago. So like certain coins,
you can borrow from your crypto too. So you can borrow from your crypto. There's platforms. I can't think of the one right now, but I know on Interactive Brokers, you can borrow from like your Bitcoin, Ethereum, and stuff like that. But like if you're on a platform like Fidelity or even like Chase Bank, most banks have investment platforms, investment accounts that you can operate yourself. But you can borrow from those at any time.
When the war started happening, that's when I kind of like shifted my focus, because when the war happened, a lot of things in the crypto world and the trading world just kind of like really fluctuated, and I didn't know what was gonna happen.
No, I see that, and that's
I was losing, man.
No, for sure. I mean, you really don't lose nothing until you sell it, right?
Yeah, you don't lose anything until you sell it.
That's where a lot of people get it messed up at with investing, is they look at the fact that their money may have went down in their account at that point, and they're like, oh man, I lost all this money. But it's like, nah, you really ain't. You got an unrealized loss.
You gotta play the long run game anyway. You know, even if it comes down,
right?
You know, it's gonna come back up.
Right.
You know, eventually it's gonna come back up. People so nervous about Bitcoin losing all this money, but it's gonna come back up.
But it ain't even really. It's only lost money to the people that's just getting into it.
Yeah, exactly. The people that put money into it when like,
when I graduated Slippery Rock, like I tell a story all the time. I got a Bitcoin story about when I didn't invest when I could have. I got my last refund check from Slippery Rock, and my last refund check was like, I think it was like maybe like 10 racks, yo. And I was sitting there, I'm like, man, Bitcoin was like $700 a coin, yo. And I was like, I should buy it.
Yeah, I remember I could have bought a coin and then.
Sure enough, I was like, you know what? Now I need these bands in my pocket. And that shit went to 60,000 a coin. And I'm like,
you know how much Bitcoin made?
Like, yeah, and it's just be like, that's what I mean, though. That was in 2016. You know what I mean? We talking about when it went to 60,000, that was just 2021.
I remember when everybody was talking about it, and I was thinking about it, and that just is like...
But like I said, it's only down for people that's just getting into it for real. So people that's been in it for anything more than 5 years, they like, all right, I'm going to buy some more. Like, Warren Buffett been buying the most in his stock portfolios than he has over the past like 30 years, yo. Because everything is on sale right now. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna follow the money. Dude. I'm gonna follow the money, man. But
smart dude.
Like, and Warren Buffett, and this is what I mean by like longevity and like thinking long term. Like you said, Warren Buffett, a smart dude, great dude, you know. But he's great at what he does in investing, not simply just because he picks the right companies, but the man don't sell anything for real. You know what I mean?
Just buying.
You just holding on to that joint because over time.
I was talking about yesterday. I think at your we was at this 90s party yesterday, and we was I forget who I was with and I was talking that with, but we was talking, and he had the 90s outfit on, and we was just talking about like how they brought it back, and I was like, do you imagine all the shit that we had as youngins?
Oh, we were talking about like
I had all these Pokemon, Digimon cards. I had all the VCR tapes. I had all the Segas. I had some shoes, I had some crazy stuff, and I just like got rid of it because I didn't think that it was gonna be worth it. And now, you know, if you had a VCR tape right now, like,
you know that
100 Dalmatians is like 100,000 or something.
101 Dalmatians VHS is.
I had like 4 of those
at
tapes.
least
Pristine condition.
All the vintage shirts that we wear and shit. Like, you go to LA, go to Melrose.
Everything got a market.
They're like $100 and something for it.
And you
That shirt was like $5 back then.
Everything got a market. Everything has an up and down peak. You know what I mean? It's just about having that longevity view. Like I said, you know, your chance of losing money in the market over 10 years slips to almost like 0% if you hold. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like over a 10-year time frame, if you hold onto your stuff for at least 10 years, your chance of you losing your money is like slim and none for real. You know what I mean? And there's even more like safe ways that you can have your money just sitting in the market. There's different strategies that I have with loose money, like that I'll put into the market just to generate more income. There's an ETF. So like the ETF is, thinking of ETF is like, I think I broke it down to you at the thing, but I'll just say it again. But like so think of Walmart as a stock market, you know, and each aisle is a different industry. So you have like tech, automotive, healthcare, electronic, like all this stuff. Not electronic, but you get what I mean. But so going down each aisle picking a product is like buying this one stock or something, right? An ETF is like buying the whole aisle, the whole industry. You know what I mean? So there's ETFs with like Apple, Google, Microsoft, you know, all kinds of stuff. They return on average a 10% a year on your money. And then most of them pay a dividend as well. So most of them pay like quarterly, monthly, annual, semi-annual dividend. So there's an ETF called QYLD. It's around like $17 right now. Pays a monthly dividend of like 2%. And that 2% is 2% of the price of the stock that it's at that time. Pays a monthly dividend. You know what I mean? So you can be throwing your money in there and you get an extra $40, $50 a day, dang. I mean, $40, $50 a month.
See, we don't even be knowing about that.
You know what I mean? That's a very safe way, because put it like this.
That's we're just, you know, accumulating that money. Absolutely.
That's the power of accumulation. We are not taught to think exponential. We're taught to think linear. We're taught to think 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1.
That's why, like, this generation, like us, all of us,
right?
Especially the younger generation,
it's taking everything to the next level. You know, this is where the biggest change has been going on.
You're supposed to think 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. You know what I mean? That's how you're supposed to think, and that's how money works. And a lot of people don't think of that. So, for example, there's like, I love showing people this, even because like the way people look at their face, like, nah. So your average savings account is gonna give you what, 0.01%, right, on your savings account. So if you got $1,000 in there,
it's nothing.
In a year, you be made about $1 in interest
rate.
Right. You know what I mean? So there's a long-term portfolio that I have, you know, that's mixed between like Tesla, Apple.
I've had part of Tesla for like 3 years now.
You know, it's a couple different stocks. My mentor Ryan Leslie, he put this together, and we go through and like recalibrate it every now and then. But this portfolio was up over the past years, up over 95%, right? So let's say, so start that with 10 racks, right? Put that in there. Over the course of a year, it was like a little over 21 and some change, right? So, excuse me, if you were to take that same account, or that same amount, that $10,000 you put into a savings account, regular savings account, you invest $100 a month for 5 years, you would have $6,000 in deposits, right? Your total balance would be like $16,000, but then you would have earned about $6 and some change in interest over that time.
Okay.
That's off of 0.01%. Now let's say this portfolio, now granted, this is like, you know what I mean, hypothetical. If this portfolio that I have does at least like 90% year over year for the next 5 years, investing $100 a month, same way for the next 5 years, instead of a $6 and some change in interest I make 1.2 million.
Just not that bad.
It's the same amount of money you deposit in, though.
It's $100 a month.
They want you to put the money in the bank.
But that's what they sell you on. They tell you, oh well, in order to get a house, you gotta have a checking and savings account. They want to see how much you put into.
That's why I say people buying life insurance is so important.
Life insurance is another way you can finesse too. Like, you know what I mean, you can be able to pull from if you have the right policy, you can be able to pull from the value of your death benefit. You know what I mean? Like
people don't know that. Like, this is the sauce that nobody knows.
There's
like,
a lot of ways around.
Like you could really run the bag of finish, and they ain't really let us know that.
You know what I mean? They're not going to. Like even with.
Well, that's because there's a system.
Yeah,
there's a system in place.
Right. They don't want us to know this.
Yeah,
stuff, you know,
there's a system.
If I told you I could show you how to make $100 a day in the stock market, $100 a day is $36,500 a year. Yeah, that's That's more than the average. The average person in Pittsburgh, the average black person in Pittsburgh makes $27,000 a year.
Yeah, and maybe less than that.
You can do that making $100 sitting in the crib, yo. Like I do this to this day, type of thing. Like I don't have to be greedy in the market. You know what I mean? Like, and then you
they think right now, like
you don't need to have every
$100 a day.
You don't need to make thousands. Yeah, I mean, my goal is to make at least $1,000 a day in some form. It ain't gotta come from all from one spot. You know what I mean? But that is my goal.
That's why you're dipped into so many.
You know what I mean? $100 a day though, like.
And it's the safest way, to be honest. In crypto and all that, it started becoming the safest way to.
You know what I mean?
You know what I mean?
You always want your money to be able to move, because if it's stagnant, it's not doing anything. You're not doing nothing, but then it's still devalued. Like the value of the dollar dropped over the course of the year. So you go and shoebox your money physically is still there. It's still the same value, but the buying power is not the same.
That's why so many people take out. That's why so many people, with how the economy was going when I was working with PNC, they take their money out of their savings accounts because the interest rates are low. Why keep their money just sitting there? Whether it's 10 cents or less than that, or maybe even slightly higher.
Doing nothing.
Yeah, and there's people that, at least from the accounts that I've seen, where it's like high six figures just sitting there.
Yeah.
But now people are putting them in investment accounts and different things like that, because
you get more of your money.
The savings accounts, the rates are so low,
right.
You're losing. I mean, your money's just sitting there for no reason.
Banks, just like the labels, are just a big scam.
Like, let's put it like this:
when the interest rates are high,
$100,000 in buying power. $100,000 last year only gives you the buying power of like $70,000 this year. So you're still losing on your money, even if you shoebox it, because you over
there shoeboxing your money on instant, and if you don't clean your money, it's gonna get moldy. And now you put them on zero.
So you really just kind of like, you really sitting stagnant and still losing dough regardless. So it's like, I don't get emotional seeing like the market being like red, or seeing my account dip and stuff like that. That don't really, unless I'm like trading and I lost money, I might.
You don't want to trade and be scared.
Like, but as far as like my long term joint, like I might see that joint be down and be like, oh, all right, I feel like buying something today. Like I'm like, I look at that like, okay, I can go buy something cool. I rarely buy when it's green, because I'm all right. I go ahead and lower my value.
Within your household, are you the finance? Like you do the finances?
Yeah, for sure. Like that's where, and I, of course, I always, teach ons and try to teach everybody I'm around about anything that I know, type of thing. I'm still learning. I ain't got the game figured out, but you know what I mean. Like I definitely got the door open, waiting for more people to come in, type of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, and I feel like having that, man, having your finances understood is like
because credit now is so important, and it allows you to get into certain doors.
Absolutely.
That if you don't have credit,
absolutely, it's a barrier for sure. Because even with like your business credit, once you get your trying to obtain business credit, they need the personal guarantor your personal credit, even though it's not gonna report on it. They see that you got a good one. So it's like having at least a 680 credit score, reporting on your Experian, can do a whole lot for you. You know what I mean? I can tell you right now, if you got a 680 credit score on your Experian, you can go to U.S. Bank or First National Bank and get a business line of credit for $50K, as long as you got your business name, your EIN, the address, and you got your operating agreement.
I ain't know none of that.
See, and that's the thing, like we're still trying to obtain business credit, and I think that's currently been our biggest struggle.
We spend all the money out of pocket.
Yeah, besides staying, consistent with the brand and stuff. But that's because we both have good credit. Right. We're both in the 600s, and but again, that it's just the business credit. Like I understand personal credit. Right. I get it. It's easy. Right. The business credit is still a little
It's tricky.
It is trickier because it's hard to obtain it.
So what do y'all have? So where are y'all struggling at with that? Do y'all have like a DUNS number?
So I have the DUNS number.
Right.
Have certain accounts where you enter your DUNS number and like you can buy stuff. They send you an invoice. Yeah.
You got like Uline and.
So I picked Granger.
Okay.
And then there's another account, Fair. It's like a whole distributor. It's online. And then that's really all. I have to like. I got discouraged because I'm doing it myself, and though like his one friend who was giving us the information, like he gave it to us, but then when I go to try doing it, it's just like.
So you have to.
I get like that mental blockage because I'm just like I don't know what I'm doing.
In order to really get a business credit, like get your business credit moving, what the main thing is there's like 2 different scores that they really like look at. Mm-hmm. There's the main one is your paydex score. Mm-hmm. That's the one that shows up. That's the one you need to have in order to be able to get like cars in your business name and houses in the business name and stuff like that. In order to get an 80 paydex score, you can research this to make sure I'm not like telling you some complete wrong information, but to my knowledge, I believe you have to have at least 2. You have to have 4 of those trade lines that you just did report at least twice. Okay. So you only did 2 of them probably once. Right. So you gotta get 4 of them to report twice. So you gotta do multiple orders with each one. Okay. So there's more that you can do. Okay. There's SUMMA office supplies. It's SUMMA. It's digital products.
Can you get your notepad out?
There's SUMMA, SUMMA office supplies, and then Ohana office supplies. They're low key linked to each other. Like there's linked to each one of them on their websites. When you go on there, you have to get a digital product in order to start your Net 30 account with them. Okay. But once you do that, you got to spend at least $100, but it's gonna be a little bit more than that because most of their digital products are like $80. So you gotta buy 2 of them. So you most likely gonna spend like $160, right?
You said
SUMMA and Ohana, OHANA. But once you do that, once you spend that money and you buy that product, they automatically net 30 you. So you get access to the digital product already. They automatically give you a net 30 bill off the rip. You don't gotta pay up front like you do with like Granger and
right. They just
they automatically do the invoice net 30. You pay that within 15 days. Once you pay that, you then get a line of credit with both of them for $5,000 each. So now you can go back and order some more stuff off that net 30 and report some more. So that's 2 of them right there. Then you do the same thing with Uline. You just keep building it up. You know what I mean? You keep reporting. And then
we've known certain things, but we didn't.
There's another one that you can do. There's also like lines of credits that you can get based off of just the revenue of the business, but you got to be doing like at least $10,000 a month for a lot of those.
Yeah, for you to get that type of business.
Right. But then there's another one. It's a credit builder one. I gotta look it up, but it's a credit builder one, but you can do it for your business, and you can have like a $10,000 line of credit reporting on your business credit, and you're just paying into it, and the money you're paying into it. Once you're done paying into that line of credit, you get the money back. But they report that line of credit on your business.
Is that called Divvy?
No, it's not Divvy. It's something like it though.
Because I think we have. So like I applied for that with Divvy, and like we have the card, and again like you put money on it.
Right, that's a secure joint. Yeah. Right. See, no, this one you don't even get the card. They just report that. Just report that big hefty amount on your business credit. And you're paying into it to get up to that amount that's reporting on there. But then once you reach that, you can do it whenever time, you can cancel whenever. But once you're done, once you're done, you can pull, you get that money back type of thing. So you know what I mean? So there's that.
We need that link.
Yeah, for sure. There's that. But I'm telling you, man, it's definitely like that, having that personal credit and then going after like getting a business like credit card. That's the goal, because like he said, we use
we've been doing, you know, out of our own pockets since we started.
So we only had the brand for 2.5 years.
Yeah, it's only, you know, 2.5 years, so we're still very fresh. But like, we don't pay ourselves back. We just take that.
Right.
It whatever we make goes back into the account for whatever else that we, you know, need.
For sure.
I mean, again, it's just us two, you know. So I think that's also like, it's a little challenging because like I only know so much, just with like my time and where it goes, like I don't have all the time to just research it and watch video after video. My attention span's not there all the time. I'm thinking about everything else that I gotta, you know, do and you know, and stuff. So I think that's the more challenging part. Because again, that's really my area of it. Like if I need his help, you know, I'll ask. But it's really just my area.
I mean, that's all stuff that just comes with like time.
Yeah, but I think what I was saying earlier about the microphones and stuff like that, you know, it's like so where we was at the very beginning when we started the brands, even with the music, you know, like where we are now, like we just elevated, you know, and just grown and like we were talking about getting the microphones at first. We was like, you know, we're just gonna wait and we're just gonna keep exchanging and keep learning and like the things that we know now, even from this podcast alone, you know, is that we're just learning more sauce, you know, like 3-4 years from now, you know, we're gonna be on a completely whole different level because we didn't know anything about the credit at the beginning, but now we're learning, you know.
Yeah, from you, the twins gave us, you know, their knowledge and stuff too on it, because they have several, you know, they're doing their thing too.
For sure,
you know, with their businesses and stuff like that. And I think that's where, when we started Swavey, you know, it was how do we do this on our own? What are we doing? How we need to make sure, like, we were more focused on like the clothes, making sure we had that down pat. But like, there's so much else business wise attached. There's
so much to the business, you know, like
besides just making
I'm just
clothing.
I'm just like with me, like I'm more like a real creative. So like I don't even. Sometimes I'm trying to get more organized and be more in the business world because I'm more just like I'm just drawing up logos and figuring out how to get out to go to school for marketing. You know, so I just think about how to, you know, the creative side of stuff and the business side is where I was always struggling at. But now, like, as we've just grown as a company, you know, like now I'm learning so much about being organized and structure and where things need to be at. You know, so
man, that's really, I mean, that's getting to a point where you understand the business, dog. Like, that's the point where it started to really like feel like a cheat code. You know what I mean? Because the stuff really don't, like, you just be able to move different. So, you know what I mean? Just how I talked about having a brokerage account where I can borrow from myself. You know what I mean? Like, if I wanted to go, you know, buy a crib and I need a mortgage down payment, I could borrow from myself. Or if I need money for more, I could borrow from myself at 2%. You know what I mean? And
I like how I borrow from myself.
Yeah, that's what it really is. You become the bank at that point. You can do the same thing with your business. Your business can have a brokerage account and you own stocks. You know what I mean? Like that's one of the ways that
we started
that move. You know what I mean? Like you can have one under, you know, the Swavey brand joint and you can own stocks and stuff. And then like, so for example, like I said, if you put in, you got money that come in, if y'all are able to sit down and look at, all right, how much money you making per month through the company, how much money are you spending that count towards your expenses, because y'all working out of here, as you know, rent, all that extra stuff is a write-off, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So all that counts into your operating expenses as a business, or how much it costs you, you know, per month to run. So then now you're able to see, okay, well, here's our profit margin. All right, how much it is are we able to cut out as far as like expenses? How much we're able to cut down so that way we can cut out these BS expenses, take that money from there and then put it into the brokerage account per month, right? So then now you got that money stacked up, just adding up per month in a brokerage account. You constantly deposit there. Not meaning don't mean you gotta buy stocks with it right off the rip. Right. You know what I mean? But like if I got 10,000 in there, it's gonna give me access to buy 30,000, right? But I may not need to, and let's say I go borrow out of that 30,000, I can borrow 50%. I can borrow 15,000. You know what I mean? I might not have to borrow that, but I can do that if I wanted to. Yeah. Now I could go buy whatever I need, supplies for the company, I could pay that back on its own time. There's no set date. No set date and time.
Yeah, and the bank like, hey, give me my money, give me my money.
The interest rate I pay is very low, 2%. You know what I mean? But like I said, but also the growth of your profile, of your portfolio pays back that at the same time by your portfolio going up. So it's being able to do that. Like I do that all the time. We needed some new like equipment. You know what I mean? Some new iPads. And we got another drone, you know what I mean? And I was like, well, shoot, instead of just throwing the money away, just going directly to the source and buying the joint, I can make the money back because I got the product and it's going to make me more money with doing everything else. But I can make my money work for me even more. So
by just buying,
I'll just go deposit the money first into the brokerage account. Deposit the money first, add to what I can borrow from. Then borrow from myself. I'll buy another asset, then borrow from myself off of that. So that way I never really actually lose that money. It's still sitting there. But now I done borrowed it from myself to go buy this product and it just making money back. I mean, it's kind of the same way you can work in real estate too. Use other people's money. You know what I mean? Other OPM. It's really just like,
I've been waiting to get into some podcast, some real estate guys, yo. We've been trying to get in that game for like.
I mean, you can really like Bridgeway. Bridgeway is another one that's why I want to introduce y'all to them because they'll actually, if y'all want, like, and they'll get y'all a building for y'all clothes and for the podcast and shit. If y'all have a legitimate, like help put it together because. I ain't gonna hold you. I've seen them approve people that didn't have no real business revenue, no business model, and giving them.
We have a business plan.
We have
a business plan. It's just not up. It's a couple of years old.
Yeah, I mean they'll come through. Like I said, going through the entrepreneurship hub, they'll allow you to learn and get resources to help update all that stuff. But then they'll also take you through the process. Like I said, I've seen them approve people for buildings. Like I'm talking about. Between construction and the price of the building,
like we had a building,
over 100 racks for the building. No real business plan, no real. But not saying it's like that for everybody. They had the credit profile probably or something like. But Bridgeway Capital is a lot more lenient to help people get into position. But then at the same time, it's being 100. Like you know what I mean, that's on their end. That's like a risk they're willing to take. It's a physical asset, so they win either way. You pay the money back on what they finance you for. They win. You default on it. They get their money back from you some kind of way and the property, put that joint back on the market and sell it again and double up. They still win. So
that's our goal is to have a place for a store and like our own podcast area, but like also where we can do like photo shoots and stuff too for the brand and stuff. Like that's our goal is to have a studio for that.
We're just building, like consistently.
We're still
that's what we show on this podcast is that that's like where we started, and our viewers get to see that is that where we started and where a lot of these other entrepreneurs and artists, even chefs, that have been on the podcast is where they are now. Like we're just consistently
for sure
growing. Like maybe we didn't start out with some guys start out already have a building. We've learned so much on this journey. Like and
it's just the beginning.
And it's at the end it's just like all right, well, now it's more enjoyable. Because like where we started at.
Man, it's really all about understanding that like. It's all about timing for real. Things will happen when they're supposed to.
They're supposed to happen.
And try not to rush yourself with like getting things to a certain point because you gonna honestly, it don't matter what people got now. Y'all will do better just by y'all outlast people just by sticking to it, bro.
That's staying consistent. We just did it. You see so many brands and
it's hard not to get discouraged sometimes because you see again like so many. I don't know if this is what you're going to say, but so many brands doing what we want to do. Right. But again, like, timing.
How many brands started and fell off?
Yeah. But it's consistency,
Consistency and execution. I had to stop doing things that I thought people would gravitate to.
Right. And just start doing what you want.
I just started doing what I felt was right for me and what I thought creatively and what I liked. And those that get it and are supposed to gravitate to it will. You know what I mean? And
it's not meant
and I go for everybody like a creative way. It's just like those that are supposed to get it will. And it's, I don't know, man. I just, I'm one of them people that, like I feel like you should never like put limitations on yourself, but always remember that this shit is a journey.
Yeah.
Like, and I say journey. Like I use journey and marathon crazy because that's genuinely what it is. Like it ain't a come up. Like And it's a journey because even as you get to points of success, you have different levels of stress. You have different things that you're trying to do. You have different things that matter. Like, I had this conversation a lot recently. It's like, niggas aren't stressing to put food on the table. Nobody is stressing to provide and put food on the table. I'm like, we over here stressing about doing more than what we're doing
than what we
now.
want to do. I just want to do.
That's
where I get
we
to.
Stressing to do more than
more.
But if I was to be completely complacent and just stop trying to level up and just coast at where we at right now, I wouldn't be complaining about it. Ain't nothing to complain about. You know what I mean? Like, I don't really have, but it's that. So but also understanding that stuff takes time. You know what I mean? And that's where I'm at peace with like a lot of how I walk things, which is why I just even when I have the thought process with the whole investing and just like right now, it's just about like it's just going at the same pace. You know what I mean? Not trying to rush anything, letting things happen. Like even this stuff with this commercial building that we're about to have for the studio, like that wasn't planned. You know what I mean? Like it was, it's been a plan for us to have a building to run production out of and do all that stuff.
Yeah. And now it's just happening.
But we weren't like, all right, let's go make this happen. I think that's really time. It was like, nah, well, we've been trying to find somewhere to do this stuff out of, and we were just gonna rent somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And we couldn't really find too many spots. And I end up, reaching out to Bridgeway because I found out, how they go through their lending process. And the first building they sent us is the one that we're getting now. Mm. And I'm like, man, this is crazy because I know where this building is at. You know what I mean? I've been there before, but it just kind of like fell in our lap type of thing.
That's the twins talked about that with their place for Hill and Company. Like they had other places that they were trying to get. They had one place they were going to get, but that fell through, and then this place came about, and it's worked out. And I think that's just what we try to, like, we have such big goals and big dreams individually, but with Swavey as well. And it's just, manifesting it, keep talking about it, but just staying consistent and doing what we're supposed to be doing and just learning, we're only 2.5 years in of just doing it on our own, and we're nowhere near where we want to be, but I have the faith in
where we started though.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know what Swavey can be, and I know that if we just stay consistent, it's gonna work out how we wanted it to. Absolutely. It's just going through, and he talks about it all the time. Like people don't appreciate the journey and like all the hard times that we're going through now. And I was just saying the other day, like, oh, I can't wait to move and like get like a backyard for Deuce and stuff. But it's like, okay, when that does happen, I'm going to appreciate the discipline that I had during the times where I didn't have, what I had at that time.
Or not even that, not even appreciating the discipline, but just appreciating the growth of where you are right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I did the same thing. I was like, I sat in I stayed at a certain level for a good bit before upgrading stuff, before upgrading like the car and house and stuff like that. I sat on for a good minute, and even now I catch myself like, all right, I'm like, all right, I want to get another whip, you know what I mean? And then I catch myself looking at this, but I'm like, this joint only a year old, literally. Like, what am I doing?
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it's like, and then I'll be like, man, well, we trying to move to Atlanta and, build a house out there, but we was going to rent too. So it's like, all right. And I'm looking at cribs, and it's like, all right, well, when we move, the next house that we want to go like, 4,000 square feet.
Yeah,
type
like
thing.
actually your forever home.
To really have people to be able to come stay whenever type of thing. Now, I'm saying that, and it's like, we live in like a 1,400 square foot house with 3 bedrooms and a garage right now. Like I don't really have to be shooting for that right now. I'm cool, especially with the price of rent going crazy. It's like, and I'm renting off my granddad, so being able to appreciate where you are right then and there, and
where were you 5 years ago?
Right, and I literally, and that's what it was. I had to look back, and I was like, man, I'd be so in a rush, feeling like I need to get here because I've reached X amount of financial success, but not really. You know what I mean? Because then I look back at it now, and I'm like, man, some of the moments that got me here feel like a blur. I don't even really remember them all like that. You know what I mean? Like before we got into this big house, before I had that car, you know what I mean? We were living in a 2-bedroom, like 700 square foot apartment. You know what I mean? And I had a used Chrysler 200. You know what I mean? Love that car.
Old school Jones.
No, love that joint. It was a 2017, something like that. It was nice. You know what I'm saying? Burgundy joint was clean for it. Had the tint on and everything, but it was like, car seat was it was cramped. It was little.
Yeah.
And like just looking back on that time or even just before then, it's like, I really remember, like a lot of people don't even know, like when I got fired from PNC, like I got fired from PNC maybe like
not too long into
I didn't make the 90 days. I didn't make the 90 days. I got fired maybe like a couple weeks after I proposed at our gender reveal. Like, you know what I mean? Just spent all this dough on this ring and stuff. So I'm like, ew, you know what I mean? And I had to just stay down and just figure it out. But that's when I really was like pushing for myself to really make this work out type. Make this work out type of thing. And it's like, I'm looking back then, I'm like, man, I was really making it happen. And it's like, well, I ain't really like, I'm not in none of them positions anymore type of thing. And it's
better positions.
Right. And it's like, I like to appreciate, that's why I started really having an appreciation for it was the journey of being able to look back and be like, yeah, that got me here, and I did this and I did this, but man, I remember when I was there, dog. Like I remember when I did
like
this.
The mindset,
and it's just like, okay, like, all right, appreciate this more because there's times when like the whole, not saying I'm not like the richest nigga in the world or nothing like that, but like, there really is like that, more money, more problems type of thing where it's like you get into a realm of like, you sit back like, damn, when did this get like this? Like I'm doing not that it's bad, but it's, you really start just appreciating everything that was before it got like that. You know what I mean? Like where I appreciate now more than anything when people just call me just to say what's up.
Chop it up.
Because 90% of the time is somebody will call me needing something.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or asking for some type of help. And not that I have an issue with helping people. Like that's all I really want to do is just help the people I care for. But you start to appreciate like
the ones that are just like
dang,
checking on
or not even just the people, just that
Yeah.
time in general. It's just like, yo, I could really chill and not really have to deal with hearing from a bunch of people or my phone buzzing off the hook a lot of times.
And then, you know, before you had your daughter,
Right.
you know, your main focus was just your
working
girl,
for-
your work and your girl and everything.
family,
So
right,
now having a daughter,
Right.
now it's a whole different. I'm assuming it's a whole different.
No, for sure,
shift.
because I try to make sure that I'm setting time out for both of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Making sure that I have that time where, you know, I'm giving them just as much effort as I'm putting into learning and growing in business and financial success.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the same as being a partner, being a father type of thing. So it's all work, but that's also part of the discipline. It's like, well, I can't sit down here all day in this office.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Gotta be moving.
I gotta be able to like go see what's going on with them, or we gotta get out the house and we gotta do stuff. So it's being at a point where like it feels dope, where it's like, oh well, I mean, shoot, I ain't gotta stay in the house and make money. I can do whatever. I work for me. I don't got to answer nobody type of thing. Like, yeah, that's dope, and it has created this opportunity to like, you know, well, if I gotta go do something for a content shoot or do some work, I can bring either of them with me if I want to, you know what I mean? Or, so it's like, that's cool, but it's still, you know, like being able to appreciate the days when I could wake up, and even with my daughter, you know what I mean? And I didn't have as much business stuff going on. And it could just be like chill time and just kicking it. And I'd be like, man, right. You know, so now it's like, sometimes it's like, man, when I get that time to do nothing, like I genuinely do nothing, but just really appreciating where you are. And I'm just appreciating where I'm at now, because it's when we go to that next level.
I was just about to ask, where do you see, like,
Yeah.
as my closing question is, where do you see I'm sure where do you see yourself? Where do you see, your businesses and everything?
Right.
And, what does that look like?
Man, it's so crazy because originally, my end goal, like if everything was to go right in the world the way I would want it to, is for Prive to actually have like a campus like Nike, but be solely for just creativity, production, but then also have state-of-the-art training facilities for pro athletes and stuff to really encompass everything we do. Have auditoriums for master classes, music studios, content studios, just really, and then be even more creative with it. We have like administrative offices, but like the streets are named after like Pittsburgh stuff or a family, and buildings are named after, us type of thing. But that's like the end goal as far as like with Prive, and then just, I don't really want to be, I want to be on some like Rock Nation type of stuff with it and Jay-Z, where it's like, yeah, I'm associated with it, it came from me, like we're synonymous, but we still are our own at the end of the day. And it's like on the athlete representation side, or even just like, partnership side, like I might not be at every meeting, but I show up for the people that it's gonna make a difference for if I'm showing up, or like the big clients I'm there and I'm face value type of thing. But then there's also the flip is there's something, and I'm glad I remembered this because I definitely wanted to throw this in there. But there's also the flip of like getting it to worth a certain amount and selling it. I'm not gonna hold you, like that's where I'm at. And that's where it was leading me to, was something that also helped me understand where I wanted to get to and reach a certain goal financially, was understanding what amount of money would I need to never have to actively work again if I don't want to, but also never be in a position where I would need to do anything for anybody or anything.
Right.
So that number for me is 10 million.
Yeah. 10 million.
That number for me is 10
million. I already
million.
said.
Like, look, I'm gonna be, and I ain't got no problem saying that. That number for me is 10 million simply because the average person, I'm gonna break this down in a few different ways. Like, so the average person doesn't spend $100,000 a year on living expenses, right? You know what I mean? You might spend maybe like 40, 50 type of thing, maybe 60, some people, average people. But if you get 10 million, right, after taxes, not saying it has to come in one big chunk either, but you just accumulate 10 million that you have liquid. You take $1 million, and that $1 million can be solely for your expenses for the next like 20 years. So you know what I mean? You can even upgrade the crib and the car to what you want, and you can ride that out for the minimum 10 years. You know what I mean? That $1 million, that's sitting in the account and it's doing nothing but taking care of month-to-month expenses. I'm talking like food, gas, utilities, mortgage, every single thing. That could last you at minimum, like even if you upgrade stuff, a minimum like 10 years, right? Then you take $2 million. You can take $2 million, you put it in the market, you put it in the stock market, right? You take that, you put it in, you can be safe with it. You can put $1 million into nothing but ETFs, make on average at least $100,000 a year in that, right? And then you can put it into a long-term portfolio like the one we talked about, that grow at least 90% a year, right? So at minimum, you're gonna make at least like $200,000. So
you're still making money at the end of the day.
You're still making money, and you still got, we only talk about 3 million. You still got 7 million left over, and we already talk about how to make you at least 200,000 a year. So then you take, that's 2 million, you divide that within there. Then you take another 2 million and you put it into the trust for family, kids, what have you, right? So now you still got 5 left over. You take another 1 million, you put it into a life insurance policy that you can be able to pull from the death benefit. You pay into that you can be able to leverage. You can also have that paid into, I forgot, it's an annuity. That's what it is. You can have an annuity paid out to you tax-free, and the federal government can't touch it in any kind of way. You can have that paid out for expenses as well, month-to-month basis. So you can put dough in there, stash it, have more income coming to you, right? So now we're down to what, 4 million? You know what I mean? You can take $1 million, give it back to your neighborhood. You know, you sitting on 3.
Good cause.
You take another $1 million split between your family. Now you got $2 million liquid to do whatever, but you still making
money else,
through all that. And then that's $2 million for you to do more investments with, start other stuff with. But then you still got your credit at the same time.
Restaurant, I don't know. Like
you still got your business credit at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And then you put that, but even putting that $2 million in the market, you put $2 million in there, they're gonna give you the buying power of 6. You can borrow $4 million and do whatever. Like make more cash flow on assets. You can go start a Toro with that money you just borrowed. The Toro paid back the money you borrowed. You keep the asset money flowing from the Toro, but you paid back the loan you borrowed from yourself, and then just do it all over again.
Right.
That's the $10 million project.
That's like,
and
so
that's a good breakdown.
And at that point, dog, like you doing $300,000 a year at minimum, like you can live good with that, especially if you got this is liquid we talking about too. You know what I mean? Like having $10 million cash, you don't gotta answer too much of anybody if you know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like
you're doing what you want to do now. You run your own shit.
At that point, right? I can genuinely off $10 million, I can make myself $1 million a year.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
$10 million right now.
You know what I mean? Off just the fact of. All right,
oh, he over here signing artists and I'll be over here taking over the world.
You can really go crazy with that. So that's what I think being realistic about that, you know what I mean, is understanding, all right, well, what number for me or for us, what does that look like? Mm-hmm. And then now you stress that out with like, all right, well, what goals do I need to hit in order to get there? You know what I mean? And like I said, if you look at that, you start putting more money, discipline, investing. Like I feel like that stuff is key to getting ahead, because they try to sell you on, you know, this savings account and all that other stuff, and just penny you, but it keeps you in a hamster wheel.
Keeps you in a box.
Yeah, man. So
yeah, I think about coming out that
but
box.
the end goal really is to just be like a figurehead, to just kind of be. I just want to own equity and things and not really do nothing, mailbox money type of thing. Like, you know.
Live your life.
Yeah, I'm not really trying to do a whole lot. I mean, I want to be, I can see myself getting in the creative directing realm, kind of like on some, maybe like some Virgil type of deal. But then also like, I can see myself going in the realm of like Maverick Carter, with like LeBron and on the production side, and just being like behind the scenes, getting stuff done. But that's really what it is now. You know what I mean? Is doing stuff and so I think
what's your message to, you know, whoever's watching? What advice do you have? Just, you know, on the things that you're doing, the things going on in the world. Anyone that wants to start their brand, just like any last piece of advice.
Keep going, you know, like you gotta push that line at the end of the day. You got to really keep pushing, because it's going to test you, no matter how hard you keep going. This world is going to see how bad you want it. But the thing about this universe at the same time, this is from the Alchemist as well, is when you're pushing so hard for something, the world will conspire with you to make it happen. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean by like, you just got to keep going, because there's a lot of people that's going to start the same journey as you, but they're not going to last. You know what I mean? And
very true.
Then when they say it's not, you know what I mean? It's not about, you know, who go the fastest, but who lasts the longest type of thing. And that's really what it is, you know.
Longevity. Take
your time, longevity, you know,
consistent.
Invest, you know, get up early, you know, pick a smoothie in the morning over them bagels. You know what I mean? Sure. Like, you know, like for real, you know.
Let me stuffing them bagels down.
You know, and just don't rush yourself, you know, because you never know when it's going to turn around type of thing. It could be in a drop of when you least expect it, you know what I mean? And at that point, you got to just be, you got to always stay ready, you know. And then finally, man, I'll say, just you gotta live and stop existing, you know, because too many people, even myself, we just live and get caught up in just like a black and white, just work.
Living that moment for real.
You gotta really live and just like, you know, champion yourself.
Appreciate
and appreciate what you got going on, and no matter what motion you got, as long as there's something positive in this world, like, you know what I mean, keep pushing at it, because that slow motion is going to turn into something big, you know. And next thing you know, you end up, you know, you're talking numbers that you never thought you'd be talking consistently. Cause that was what it was for me. That was a realization when the conversations naturally went from talking, oh yeah, well, 5, 10, okay, cool. Then it start being 50, 60, okay, cool. Now the conversations are naturally, oh well, 3 million, 4 million, okay, cool. Like this, that all makes sense. Like that's the type of thing, and it just takes that time to get there, man. So just keep pushing. That's the message, man. Just keep pushing.
We appreciate it.
Definitely
It's been a lot of value.
Yeah, this is a podcast episode you guys don't want to miss. Sure. In 2 weeks we will have our. Hopefully we can get a podcast in between then, but August 7th we'll be doing a podcast with Merril Hoge, who used to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So we're really excited about that. It's going to be a good one. This one was a good one for sure. A lot of information given, a lot of
stuff I really didn't know.
Yeah.
I was just sitting here just saying, I was like, I didn't know none of that.
Yeah, a lot of value shared. And that's what it's all about. That's what this platform is for. So we definitely appreciate you for dropping the knowledge, sharing everything with us, and sharing for our viewers as well.
The 10 million breakdown.
Yeah. So like we said, episode 23, hoping we can get one in between now and August 7th. But if not, it'll be on August 7th with Merril Hoge. Again, my name is Marlena.
Rob G's.
And Rafiyq here. I'll put all his information in our video in the description. So definitely get with him. But we'll be back for episode 23. Stay Swavey.